Once the land of opportunities now has become the land of extreme inequality. According to a survey published by Financial Post, 38% Canadians believe that Canada has become a land of extreme inequality, and majority of that inequality is coming from the cost of living. Let's look at the survey results. So basically, you can see it's the same picture being painted across the multiple political spectrum. So they conducted survey from people from NDP voters, liberal voters, conservative voters, and pretty much there is a consensus among all of them that yes, the land of opportunity has become the land of inequality, right? That number was 19% 5 years ago. Now that number has gone up to 38%. So big jump in the last 5 years. And if you look at the main concern among all those Canadians that is coming from is the cost of living. You can see how many Canadians used to believe the cost of living has become worse. It used to be 37% amongst conservatives, 20% amongst liberals, 24% amongst NDP voters back in 2019. Now that number has gone to 63% amongst conservative voters and 52% amongst NDP voters. But liberals somehow believe that the cost of living has not gone worse. Maybe the liberal voters were all landlords and business owners, so the cost of living didn't really impact them. But you get the gist, right? So the cost of living is literally driving the inequality amongst Canadians right now. Now, the question is where this cost of living crisis coming from? Like you have been watching my videos, you know that there are multiple factors, okay? Immigration, yes, everybody is blaming them. It's very easy to blame immigration, but the main issue here is who is giving immigrants easy money? Who is giving them mortgages and funding those transactions? Okay, that would be banks, right? The big six banks that we have in Canada, they have been fueling this market by giving them easy mortgages that they can take to make purchases. But the other main issue for inflation is the government spending. As Milton Friedman said, that inflation is always a monetary phenomena. One of the main economists in the modern times I have been reading about is Milton Friedman. He's one of the best. And what he talked about inflation in 1970s, let's take a look at it.
Blamed our current rising inflation in a large part on our foreign trade and unions. He did, however, say that the government was little to blame. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes. Unfortunately, it is one of the defects of our political system that we always put a Secretary of the Treasury and other high government officials into a position in which, when they make public statements, they are almost driven. Well, what's the word I want to use? I want to use a polite word, equivocate. Secretary Blumenthal knows as well as you and I do that inflation does not come from trade unions. That doesn't mean that trade unions aren't grasping. Of course they are. But they don't produce inflation for one simple reason. They do not own a printing press on which you can turn out green pieces of paper. The only such printing press is in Washington. I say printing press, of course, in the modern age we do it in a more sophisticated way. We use bookkeepers and accountants and computers. But it comes down to the same thing. Inflation is made in Washington because only Washington can create money. And any other attribution to other groups of inflation is wrong. Consumers don't produce it. Producers don't produce it. The trade unions don't produce it. Foreign sheiks don't produce it. Oil imports don't produce it. What produces it is too much government spending and too much government creation of money and nothing else. Yes, sir. Before you clap, let me point out that the reason why we have too much printed spending and too much printing of money is because you people want it. You and I. We're citizens. We run this country. If Congress has been voting higher and higher spending, why? Because it has been politically profitable for them to do it. If they have been voting higher spending and not voting the higher taxes to pay for it, why? Because it's been politically profitable to do it. We would all like to get something for nothing. And so the political process has been leading to Congress increasing spending, not increasing taxes, and financing the difference by the hidden tax of inflation. I think we are unwise. But let's not blame the others. The problem, you know, in that famous statement of the cartoonist, we have met the enemy and they is us.
There you go, guys. It's 1978, right? So even after 50 plus years, we are seeing the same issues, the same challenge with regards to cost of living crisis, not only in the US, but also in Canada and the other European countries as well. So number one issue we have is the government spending. That determines that government deficit spending that drives the inflation. Okay, I'm just looking at the report published by Fraser Institute, and they are comparing different provincial governments and the federal government in terms of how they have been managing their budget and how they have predicted in the past that they will turn their budget deficits into surplus by 2023 and 2024, and how they have been completely missed their own deadlines, and now the budget doesn't look like it's going to balance itself. Okay, let's take a look at it. So only 2 provinces have been in the positive side of the equation. So Alberta and New Brunswick, they have been producing some budget surplus as per their 2024-2025 budget. So Alberta forecasting 367 million surplus, and New Brunswick is forecasting 41 million surplus. Even though it's a small amount, but still they are producing surplus. So this is the good categories. Let's take a look at the bad category. And amongst the bad category, we have Saskatchewan, Newfoundland, and Labrador. They expect deficits in 2023-2024. And they were planning to balance their budget in 2025-2026, but they have run many years of deficits and debt accumulation. The debt interest cost in Newfoundland and Labrador has expected to reach $2,123 per person, which is the highest in Canada. Okay, now the ugliest part is 2 provinces, BC and Ontario. Both of these provinces have run massive fiscal deficits. Not only that, they have run massive fiscal deficit, they actually broken their own record of meeting the balancing the budget deadline. So Ontario, for example, Doug Ford has promised that he will bring the budget into surplus by 2023-2024. According to his last budget, they are now forecasting $10 billion deficit. $10 billion deficit. Okay, that's a huge miss. So imagine if you are a sales guy in a corporation and you misforecast your quarter, you will be out in the next quarter for sure. Okay, but hey, this is government, you know, they can do anything and they can still hang around. Same issue with the BC. They plan to run $7.9 billion deficit in 2024-2025, and then that deficit going to expected to slow down in the next year, like 2025, 2026, 2027, and then by 2028, 2029, they may be able to balance it out and then bring it under the surplus category. But the spending is mainly driven by these fiscal deficit, and that spending is actually causing inflation, as you've heard from Milton Friedman as well, that these government spending are politically profitable business. If the government start cutting programs, then who's going to vote them, right? So this is the dilemma that I have between liberal and conservative, that if the conservative are promising cuts, how the conservative is going to fund the government programs. Either they run into austerity, which is going to be a massive political suicide for them, or they can continue kicking the can or continue spending money and running fiscal deficit, which will eventually continue running the inflation. And inflation is the hidden tax. All of us are paying the price of the rampant spending that we have seen since the COVID times. Now we are paying the price in the form of higher taxes as well as the inflation. And once the inflation has gone above their range, it's so difficult to bring it down, because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because every consumer believes that the prices will continue to go up, so they will continue spending and buying products just in case if they need those products in the future, so they can lock the price now before it goes further up. Anyway, sad state of affairs, guys. So you let me know how you think about that and how you are protecting your finances. Put your comments down below. And if you need any help with regards to financial planning, your kids' education planning, your retirement planning, let me know. I have partnership with Aegon Research. I can connect you with one of my best financial advisors. They can give you honest advice free of charge and help you build your portfolio. Check the links below. There are some free stuff available in the description. Take the advantage of it, and I'll see you in my next video. If you are an investor in the US, in Canada, or in Europe, and you are considering investing into Dubai real estate market, this video is for you, because we have a platform called Stake, which allows you to invest into the residential real estate market and start earning rental income right away without going through a lengthy documentation process or coming up with a heavy down payment. Stake is built upon the concept of crowdfunding. So it is democratizing the entire investment strategy and allows you to own a single unit of the entire investment portfolio. So you don't have to own the entire property, right? You can be part of the pool that can actually own a piece of property, a piece of real estate. So that allows you to start with as low as 2,000 dirhams, and you can slowly ramp up. So as you start investing into it, you can not only own a bit of real estate, but you also get a portion of the rental income on monthly basis. So it's a passive investment strategy, diversifying your portfolio from traditional North American or European markets into Dubai, which is hustling and bustling and growing very fast, and allows you to build your wealth over time. So don't delay. There is a link down there in the description. If you click on this, it will give you free 200 dirhams in your account right away to start with, and you can thank me later.